Hi, welcome back to Happy Apple Core Homestead. Today we're going to jump right into Dandelion Wine Part 2. First I'm going to tell you everything that I have out here so you can get your supplies ready. So first of all, we've got a 5-gallon carboy. It has been washed and sanitized. Underneath here, this blue thing is a carboy dryer. Because carboys have like a little tiny opening, this is a very helpful tool just to help it air dry once you put the sanitizer in it. Now, again, everything here has been sanitized. You want everything to be sanitized that touches your wine. I use Easy Clean right now, but you can use Star San or other things. Totally up to you. We also have a big long spoon. We may or may not need that today, but I got it ready just in case. We have an airlock and all of its individual parts. There's 4 parts to an airlock. I'll show that to you later. I have a bottle of Everclear here. We're going to use that in the airlock. You can use plain old sanitized water if you want to. I use Everclear because I have it. Totally up to you what you use. We have our hydrometer. We're going to need that today. We also have our wine thief, if you remember from part 1. And somewhere in here, we're going to link up part 1 for you. But make sure you check that out because this is part 2. You're late to the game if you're just checking us out now. Okay, this is an auto siphon, very important for this process. Here we've got our tubing, and you need the appropriate size tubing. I'm not going to go into like the sizes and everything, but if you want me to, I can later. This is a racking tube. It's a little bit firmer and it's very important. It fits into the auto siphon. Okay, and then of course here we have our wine. It's been sitting here for 7 days. It's been fermenting. Just a pro tip for you guys, if you notice that your wine is smelling, like it's gonna smell like a little bit, you should smell the fermentation. If it is disturbing to you, go ahead and stir it. So in part 1 of my video, I told you like, I never stir this stuff, and really I don't. But I am gonna tell you if it's starting to really stink, like very fermenty-y, I don't know what the word is. Anyways, if it's overly stinky, go ahead and aerate it a bit. It really does help with the odor. And also you'll notice here that my towel is wet. So I've actually been changing this towel. If you watched my first video, you know that I used like a purple towel or a blue-green towel. And because it's been wet, I've had to change it every day. So if your towel gets wet on top, you're not getting airflow into your wine must. So change that towel out every day, which is what I've been doing, but now it is ready to rack this wine. So that's what they call it. They call it racking, when you put the wine from the bucket into the bottle. So we're gonna do that now. I'll show you what it looks like, and then we'll go over the last few bits of information, and then we'll be done. See you in a bit. The first thing we're going to do is take the bag of goodies out of the wine bucket. Completely up to you if you want to squeeze it a bit. I'm not going to get aggressive about it. Just going to let it drip for a minute and put it in this pot. All right, so what we took out of the bucket, that can go into your compost pile. It's not alcohol yet, it's not gonna hurt anything. It's still fermenting. It's a perfect addition to your compost pile. What we have here is our bucket, and then I'm just gonna show you down below, we've got our carboy. Okay, the first thing we're gonna do is we're going to check the gravity of the wine at this point. Our hope is that it's going to be 1.04-ish. And so let's just see what we have. This is our wine thief here. It's quite long, fits into the jug. And this is what it looks like when it captures the wine. Like a little bit more. And then this here is our hydrometer. Goes in heavy side down. And what you want to do, what I didn't show very well in the first video, is when you put it in, you want to give it a spin like so. Okay, and then we're going to read it. So as you know, we want to read it at this line here, the lowest line, and my little thing is a little bit squirrely, but it is just below the 1.040, which is where we want it to be. So I'm perfectly happy with this, and we're gonna go ahead and rack it into the carboy now. Okay, next we are going to use the auto siphon along with this tubing here and the racking cane, which is a little bit of a harder plastic, and this goes into here just like this. Okay, once you get that installed, this auto siphon goes into the bucket. Now, an important thing to note is we don't want any of the dregs, you know, the extra petals or anything from the bottom of the bucket to go into the carboy. And then the tube goes into the carboy. Once you have your auto siphon in the bucket and the other end of the tube in the carboy, you're going to just squeeze this down, up and down a couple of times, and it will get started right on its own. And it will continue to pour the liquid into the carboy, and I will go ahead and show you what that looks like right now. Here is the carboy filling up with our beautiful dandelion wine. Now right about here is when you're going to want to stop allowing it to flow through, because I guarantee you this is going to bubble up and go up the top. So if you let your wine go all the way to the tippy top, then you're going to get some overflow. So we're going to go ahead and stop right here. Okay, she's full. As you can see, my wine is up to here, and I would have preferred it be a little bit lower. I can really just anticipate that even through the airlock, that as this ferments, it might do a little spitting. So wherever I put this, I'm gonna set some towels down and just be prepared for that. You will want to check on your wine, especially if you have it this high, for the first few days and clean up any messes, okay? But if you only filled it to here, then probably this is the only other step you're going to need to take. So we're going to install the airlock. Now, this is called a bung, B-U-N-G. It's a bung. And this is an airlock. There's several different types of airlocks. This is the one I'm using today. I have a few different other ones. Basically, you just stick it in there. And then there's this little middle piece here. The whole point of an airlock is to let the gases out and prevent anything from coming in, right? You don't want any flies or germs or whatever. You don't want anything going into your wine. I use Everclear. You can use sanitized water. It's up to you. Every airlock will tell you kind of where you need to put your medium, whether it's sanitized water or Everclear. And you'll see that this middle one, maybe you can see it, but this floats a little bit. And then there's a little lid. This one has a couple, whoopsie. It has some holes in the top, right? So as the gases come up from the wine, the air can come out of the airlock, right? But nothing can come in. So the holes are too small for like flies to get in or whatever. And even if something were to come in, it can't get past the liquid barrier. So as you'll notice, I also have a thermometer on here. Just try to keep it in a cool place. Don't let it freeze. Don't let it boil. Some people are big sticklers on it. I'm not. I just try to keep it in a cool, dark place. And you'll start to see here in a minute, this is going to start bubbling up. Now, the other thing that I do is I stick a label on this. I guess if you only make one batch of wine, you will probably not forget it. But I also put the date on it, and it will remind me that in about 3 weeks, I'm gonna need to check on this. So when this wine gets to a gravity of 1.0, it's time to re-rack it, put it into a new, clean, sanitized carboy so it can clear. Now, if you just leave this here forevers, you'll notice that at the bottom, there's what's called the lees, and that's the dead yeast. And really, you don't want your wine sitting on that for the rest of its life. So check your wine in 3 weeks, see how it's feeling, check the gravity, see if it's at 1.0. If it is, it's time to go ahead and either be wild and bottle it or go ahead and let it clear for a while. I personally am gonna let mine clear for a while, and hopefully you can see it bubbling already. It's doing its thing, and we're just gonna let her sit and do what she does best, make wine. So now, the biggest question is, do you want me to do part 3? Do you want to see the process of bottling it? Do you want to see what this looks like? It looks cloudy right now, but by the time we drink this, it's going to be completely clear, it's going to be sweet, it's going to be lovely. So you let me know. Do you want part 3? Do you want to see the bottling? Let me know. All right, thanks for watching part 2. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!